On the last episode, folks, Bing walked over to Mary's house to tell her that she needs to find a foreign husband in Angeles. That is her goal. Anyway, Mary was planning on heading back to Angeles City soon anyway. So it didn't take much to convince Bing to head up to Angeles together, with Mary. The two of them would get a bus up there. So here they are, in the small town in front of Mary's house. And, they're planning things out a bit, Bing would stay in Mary's room. Okay, that's part of the plan. And, Mary's staying with her coworkers. So all the girls will stay in one room there in Angeles. All the coworkers, and they're all Mary's friend, okay? So that's the accommodations taken care of. So as they talk about the whole Angeles thing, it made Bing feel a lot better. Almost as if they were best friends because, they actually hadn't seen each other for quite a long time. So Mary was Bing's connection to the outside world. So Mary is playing an important part in Bing's life here, folks. And she seems to know so much about the world that Bing was about to enter. So the two talk for a long time, but half of what Mary said seemed to go in one ear and out the other with good old Bing, it seems so far away for Bing. It's what Bing's thinking. And this is like a whole other world. Will I ever actually be there? She's not thinking this is actually going to be a reality. This is all just curiosity here. So it's the whole unknown thing that's sort of weighing on Bing, But she just knew if she stuck with Mary, everything would be okay. After all, Mary had already been there and she was happy and she was going back. That says a lot. So a few days had passed and Bing realized, she needs some money for the bus fare to get to Angeles City together with Mary, but Bing didn't want to bother Mary for the bus fare. She's already helped enough here, folks. So she knew she had to find this bus fare by herself. So what did she do? Where did she go to get the bones? She went to her uncle's house to ask for it, okay? The uncle helped out with the father's funeral, even though he knew the family would not be able to pay it back, even though the uncle had his own problems, on top of everything, as did they all, everyone in the barangay. So it was hard to ask uncle for more money. But that's what Bing did. She went to her uncle's house and asked for the bus fare. She told the uncle that she was going to Angeles to work in a restaurant. But the uncle knew about Angeles. He knew what Bing was doing up there, what she was planning to do. But as the village saying goes, desperate times call for desperate measures. So the uncle told Bing, sure, I'll give you the bus fare, but what are you going to do for me? And he pointed to the bedroom, folks. He pointed to the bedroom door. Bing was kind of shocked. She thought, wow, it's starting already? And with my uncle of all people? No, sorry, that didn't happen. Let's get back to the story here, folks. The uncle didn't ask any questions, really. He lent Bing the bus fare so she could get to Angeles. The day of departure had finally arrived. Bing was about to enter another world, to start a whole new life. And at this time, her family would be saved from the Bankster Mafia. And everything was going to be okay. Bing had told her family her made-up story that she was going to Angeles to work in a restaurant. And as far as Bing knew, they freaking believed her. Her family took care to give her everything she needed for her trip. And they took her down to the bus terminal to see her off. Bing thought that, it was a nice feeling, but, it was also sad at the same time. She had never said bye-bye to her family before, but at least Mary was there to keep her company. So there they are. They're at the bus terminal and they got on the bus. And now the bus pulls away and they all wave goodbye to each other, Bing and her family. It was a 30-hour bus trip from Tacloban to Angeles. The bus went all day and all night. Bing had a lot of time to talk to Mary on the bus. You know how girls are, they're always talking. So Bing was sort of thinking and planning about, her future. She was wondering about, Angela's city itself. Like, what was there and who was she going to meet? Mary was telling Bing about how it works and how easy it was. There were tricks to getting more tips, okay? And it just seemed like there was an endless amount of ways for these bar girls to make money. The end goal for Bing, though, was not to make money. The money part was just to help her family, okay? Bing's main ambition was to find a foreign husband. Bing felt excited and she felt terrified at the same time. I mean, this was a big goal she had. The two girls finally arrived in the Doway bus terminal there in Angela City, and they got a motorbike taxi to the room. So they would share this room with some other girls, So it was the co-workers of Mary and soon to be Bing's co-workers. So they walk into the room. And Bing, she felt a bit shy, a bit intimidated by the other girls in the room. These were friends of Mary, okay? So they were all co-workers. So as Mary and Bing walked in the room, these girls were preparing for work that night, and they looked very glamorous and sexy. Bing looked at herself and realized, she looked like she had just stepped off a farm. Well, obviously, that was exactly the case, folks. The room itself was small and comfortable, and Bing would share a bed with Mary. However, the two were only home for about an hour, okay, before, Mary had to get ready for work at the bar. Mary quickly put on her clothes and her makeup. Bing, she was a little shocked at how comfortable Mary was dressing the way she was. She'd never seen her that way before. So anyway, Mary's doing her thing and she gets done. She's done and she's ready to head out. So she asked Bing to follow her to work. So they walked to the bar together. But I mean, in Bing's mind, she was thinking that there was no freaking way that she was going to wear clothes like this. Bing's heart began to beat, a little faster at this point, she's not jiving with this, folks. But they headed out, okay, and they were heading to the bar on Walking Street. Bing's new life was about to begin. The two walked to the bar, and as they got there, all the roommates were already sitting down, waiting for the men to arrive. Mary took Bing aside together with the manager as they walked in. The manager was a lady, and that made Bing feel more comfortable. This manager, took one look at Bing and decided, "You're hired." Between you and me, folks, here, I think the manager liked the just off the farm look. You know what I mean? But anyway, the manager, she was cool. She knew the business. She even recommended that Bing just look around for a while to see if she liked it. Just sit down and observe. You don't have to do anything. So the manager wanted Bing to feel comfortable and, it worked. The manager knows what she's doing. So even though being in the bar was a little overwhelming for little Bing, the hardest part faded away, each minute as she was there. It also helped that Mary was there to, a bit of moral support and some familiarity with the surroundings. So it wasn't, overly foreign for Bing. So as the girls were standing in front of the bar, calling any passing foreign men to come in for a drink, Bing sat there just watching. She felt uncomfortable being in the bar. It wasn't as bad as when she first arrived, but it's still not comfortable. As she watched the girls do what they do, calling foreign guys into the bar, she thought, I can't do this. I can't do what these girls are doing. There's no freaking way I can do that. That's what Bing's thinking. Many foreign men visited the bar as Bing sat there and just watched. She remembers thinking, it seemed as though men come as quickly as they go. She saw men from one bar cross the street, and stumble over to her bar, and men from her bar stumble over to the next bar. The girls were sitting with them, they were laughing with them and even kissing them. This was a whole other world that Bing was witnessing, and it was very overwhelming for little Bing, little innocent Bing. Bing had seen as many foreigners in 1 minute than she had seen in her whole freaking life, folks. However, Bing did not speak English, and she had no idea what these men and these, the girls were even talking about. Bing was surprised to see the girls look so confident around the men. She had never even seen Filipinos speak English before, much less speak English to foreigners. Bing realized that she was not capable of doing this, okay? This is the thought that's entering Bing's mind there on day one. She started feeling more uncomfortable. Unfortunately for little Bing, she was just gonna, remain in her seat. And then after her shift, her very first introductory shift, she was gonna get a bus back home. I mean, this was not for her, folks. She wanted to go home to her family and her familiar, comfortable environment, okay? But then something happened. Bing remembers. One foreign man in the bar approached her. This foreign man approached Bing. Bing was just on her first day, and this guy began talking to her. She did not understand a single word this guy was saying, and she felt sick to her stomach because the guy had alcohol on his breath. Bing was looking around for someone to help her, but all the girls, they were busy, okay? The manager was busy. Mary was busy. So Bing quickly stood up, before the guy could say another word, and she walked away. She passed the manager and told the manager that she needs to go out for a walk. And then Bing just left. Bing didn't know where she was walking to. She went out to Walking Street and she walked down Walking Street. She saw just more of the same. Alcohol and foreign men. This is not how she had imagined a foreign man to be. She saw foreign men as distinguished gentlemen, the ideal man. When Bing looked back at her life from the perspective of today, she realized that she just had a lot of growing up to do. At the time, she couldn't even fathom that a world like this even existed. All she saw was bar after bar and scantily dressed women everywhere. And these were her fellow Filipinas, and so as she walked down Walking Street, she noticed these other men who were walking down. They were sort of casually looking at her, and she realized that these men thought of her as a working girl. She felt sick and she had a hard time feeling comfortable with the surroundings, and she had to go home. But, just as quickly as she thought she had to go home, she realized she can't. She needs to help her family with their money problems.